On April 13, 2011, Holly Bobo, a 20-year-old nursing student, vanished from her family home in Darden, Tennessee. She had woken up early to prepare for class while her parents left for work, and her brother, Clint, remained asleep. Around 7:30 a.m., Holly's neighbor heard a piercing scream and alerted her mother, who called Holly's phone, but there was no answer. Meanwhile, Clint looked out the window and saw Holly in the garage with a man wearing camouflage. Initially thinking it was her boyfriend, Clint was shocked when their mother yelled, "That's not him! Grab a gun!" Moments later, Holly and the man disappeared into the woods. Clint rushed outside with a gun, but Holly was gone. Inside the garage, he noticed splatters of blood, further escalating concerns. Police arrived within minutes and began investigating, but their efforts in those first critical hours were disorganized. They failed to secure the garage, search the woods thoroughly, or interview neighbors. This inaction would haunt the case for years. Despite an extensive search involving hundreds of volunteers, there was no sign of Holly. GPS data from her phone showed it moving north for 30 minutes before shutting off in a wooded area. Investigators found her phone nearby, but its SIM card was removed. Strange clues emerged as her belongings were discovered scattered across town, yet they led nowhere. Attention turned to a local man named Terry, who had a history of violent crimes. He matched the description of the man Clint saw, and suspiciously cut his long dark hair right after Holly's disappearance. However, searches of his home and a wiretap yielded no evidence. Terry's role remained unproven. 3 years later, a man named Dylan Adams was arrested on unrelated charges and made a shocking confession. He claimed to have seen Holly alive at his brother Zach's house on the day she disappeared. Dylan alleged that Zach and others had abducted, assaulted, and killed her. Police arrested Zach and his associates, Jason Autry and Shane Austin, launching a new phase in the investigation. Jason testified that Zach and Shane burned Holly's belongings in a barrel to destroy evidence. A neighbor reported seeing Zach trade a gun for drugs shortly after the murder. The gun was recovered but lacked fingerprints or DNA linking it to Holly's case. In September 2014, hunters discovered Holly's skull in a wooded area 19 miles from her home. Forensic analysis confirmed a gunshot wound, marking her death as a homicide. The discovery intensified the investigation and focused efforts on Zach and his group. Jason initially testified that Zach shot Holly after realizing she was still alive while attempting to dispose of her body. However, years later, he recanted his testimony, claiming he fabricated the story under police pressure to avoid a life sentence. Shane Austin, one of the suspects, was believed to have helped Zach dispose of Holly's body. Police offered him immunity in exchange for his cooperation, but Shane failed to lead them to her remains. Later, Shane was found dead in a hotel room in an apparent suicide, further deepening the mystery of his involvement. Investigators uncovered circumstantial evidence linking Zach to the crime. A white pickup truck, matching Zach's, was seen speeding away from Holly's house. Additionally, Zach's ex-girlfriend testified that he had threatened her, saying, "I'll tie you up like Holly and no one will ever find you." A woman told police she had seen a disturbing video of Holly being assaulted, allegedly filmed by Zach and his brother Dylan. Despite extensive searches of their devices, investigators found no such footage, leaving this critical piece of evidence unverified. Forensic experts confirmed that Holly was killed by a gunshot to the head. Despite this, the weapon found during the investigation could not be definitively linked to the crime, adding to the prosecution's challenges in proving guilt. In September 2017, 6 years after Holly's disappearance, Zach stood trial for her murder. Testimonies from Jason and other circumstantial evidence led to his conviction. He was sentenced to life in prison, plus 2 additional 25-year terms for kidnapping and assault. Dylan Adams accepted a plea deal, admitting to his role in the kidnapping and murder. Although he didn't testify against others, his confession earned him a 35-year sentence with no possibility of parole. Due to his cooperation with the prosecution, Jason Autry received an 8-year sentence. However, he later recanted his testimony, claiming police coerced him into fabricating the story. This raised doubts about the validity of his initial statements. Zach's defense pointed to Terry, a man investigated early in the case. Terry matched the description of the man seen with Holly and had a violent history. However, the prosecution dismissed this theory, citing a lack of evidence against him. Investigators found a palm print on Holly's school card that didn't match hers or any of the suspects. While it raised questions, it remained an unresolved piece of the puzzle, leaving room for alternative theories. Many viewed the convictions as flawed, citing the lack of direct evidence and inconsistent witness statements. Holly's family, while grateful for some resolution, continued to question whether all those involved were truly held accountable. In 2024, Jason recanted his testimony, claiming it was fabricated to secure a plea deal. This sparked a motion for a retrial for Zach, but the judge denied it, stating the circumstantial evidence still held weight. Despite the convictions, Holly's case remains clouded in uncertainty. Missing pieces, conflicting accounts, and unresolved clues leave a haunting question. Was justice truly served? For Holly's family, the search for answers continues. Shadow Mysteries, unraveling the horrifying mysteries of crime cases. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to catch the next thrilling and suspenseful episodes.